If your morning blood sugar is high, do not blame dessert first. The real trigger may be the toast you eat every day, especially if you eat it first, eat it alone, and eat it without enough protein. That is the part many seniors miss. Bread does not have to taste sweet to raise blood sugar. It is mostly starch, and once starch is digested, much of it becomes glucose in the bloodstream. So when someone says, "I only had toast," the body may hear something very different: fast carbohydrate, low fiber, little protein, and nothing to slow it down. Bread is not poison, and this is not about making you afraid of a normal food. But after 60, bread needs a better plan. The same slice that felt harmless at 45 can behave differently at 70 because the body changes. Muscle mass often goes down, movement after meals may be lower, sleep may be poorer, and many older adults eat less protein than they realize. Since muscle is one of the main places your body uses glucose after meals, less muscle and less movement can mean the same bread creates a bigger rise. This is not a rare problem. CDC data shows that 31.3 million adults aged 65 and older in the United States had prediabetes, about 52.1% of that age group. The American Diabetes Association also reports that more than 40 million Americans are living with diabetes, and prevalence among Americans 65 and older remains high at 28.8%. So if bread seems to affect your sugar more than it used to, you are not imagining it, and you are certainly not alone. As you listen, picture your usual breakfast. Is bread the first thing you eat? Is it toast with jam, a bagel with butter, a sandwich with 2 large slices, or crackers from the box while you make tea? Keep that meal in your mind, because the goal today is not to remove every slice of bread. The goal is to make that slice slower, smaller, and safer. Let's start with the most important idea. Your blood sugar does not judge bread by its name. It reacts to the amount of carbohydrate, the type of flour, the fiber, the size of the slice, what you eat with it, and when you eat it during the meal. A typical slice of bread can have about 12 to 20 grams of carbohydrate, depending on the brand and size. 2 slices in a sandwich can easily become 30 grams or more before you add soup, fruit, milk, juice, potatoes, or dessert. A large bagel can contain the carbohydrate load of several slices of bread, even though it looks like just one bagel. This is why many older adults feel confused. They may not be eating candy, cake, or cookies, but their blood sugar still rises after breakfast. The reason is simple. Refined starch can act quickly. White bread, soft rolls, many bagels, many crackers, and some soft wheat breads are easy to chew and easy to digest. That may feel gentle in the mouth, but it can be fast in the bloodstream. Whole grain bread is often a better direction, but even that needs careful reading. Brown color does not prove the bread is truly whole grain. Multigrain only means more than one grain. Made with whole grains may still include a lot of refined flour. The international tables of glycemic index and glycemic load values show that breads can vary widely in their glucose effect, which means the front label is not enough. So do not judge bread by color, name, or marketing. Turn the package around. Look at the first ingredient. If the first ingredient is enriched, wheat flour, or white flour, it is mostly refined. Then look at fiber. For many seniors, a useful starting point is at least 3 grams of fiber per slice. If you can find 4 or 5 grams and your digestion tolerates it well, that may be even better. Now, here is the rule I wish more seniors knew earlier. Do not eat naked bread. Naked bread means bread by itself, toast alone, bread with jam alone, crackers alone, a dinner roll before the meal, a bagel with only butter. This is when bread can move quickly because there is no protein, fiber, or healthy fat slowing the meal down. You do not have to ban the bread. You have to dress the bread. Dress it with eggs, tuna, salmon, chicken, turkey, cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, tofu, lentils, hummus, avocado, nut butter, seeds, or vegetables. A slice of toast with jam is bread plus sugar. A slice of dense toast with egg and tomato is bread plus protein, fiber, and moisture from the vegetables. A piece of bread eaten with lentil soup is bread plus fiber and plant protein. Same food category, very different blood sugar behavior. If this sounds like your morning routine, keep listening because the fix is usually smaller than people think. Many seniors do not need a harsh diet. They need a better order, a smaller portion, and something protective beside the bread. The first practical change is to choose slower bread. Slower bread is usually denser, higher in fiber, less processed, and made from true whole grains. It may be 100% whole grain, sprouted grain, dense rye, stone ground whole wheat, or another high fiber option. The key word is not just healthy. The key test is whether the bread has enough fiber, a reasonable slice size, and an ingredient list that starts with whole grain rather than refined flour. The second change is to decide the portion before you eat. If bread is already in your hand and you are hungry, it is very hard to be honest about portion. Decide first. For many older adults watching blood sugar, one regular slice at a meal is a better starting point than 2 or 3. If you want a sandwich, make it open-faced with 1 slice of bread and more filling on top. If you like toast, start with 1 slice and build the meal around protein, not around more bread. The third change is to stop eating bread first. This one may sound too simple, but it can make a real difference. A study by Shukla and colleagues found that when people with type 2 diabetes ate carbohydrates last, after protein and vegetables, their post-meal glucose and insulin excursions were lower compared with eating carbohydrates first. In daily life, this does not need to feel medical or complicated. At breakfast, take a few bites of egg, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, or nut butter before the toast. At lunch, eat some tuna, chicken, soup, salad, beans, or vegetables before the bread. At dinner, begin with vegetables and protein, then eat the bread later if you still want it. The bread is still there, but it is no longer the first thing rushing into your bloodstream. The fourth change is to add movement after bread-containing meals when you can. This does not mean hard exercise. For many seniors, even a gentle 10-minute walk after breakfast or lunch may help muscles use some of the glucose from the meal. It can be a slow walk in the hallway, a few loops around the kitchen, or an easy walk outside. The point is not performance. The point is giving glucose somewhere to go. Now let's make this practical by looking at the meals seniors actually eat. Breakfast is the most common problem because it is often built around bread, toast and coffee, toast with jam, toast with butter, a bagel with cream cheese, an English muffin with a little spread. These meals feel light, but light does not always mean balanced. If breakfast is mostly bread with very little protein, blood sugar may rise quickly and hunger may return sooner. A better breakfast might be 1 slice of high-fiber toast with eggs and tomato, or 1 slice with cottage cheese and berries, or half a sandwich with tuna and cucumber, or Greek yogurt with berries and nuts with half a slice of toast if you still want it. Notice what changed. Bread is still allowed, but it is no longer alone, and it is no longer the whole meal. Lunch can be just as tricky. A sandwich can be reasonable, but the usual sandwich is often mostly bread. 2 large slices, a thin layer of meat, very few vegetables, and chips or juice on the side. That looks normal, but for blood sugar, it may be a large carbohydrate meal with not enough fiber or protein. A better senior sandwich has more filling than bread. Make it open-faced. Use 1 slice instead of 2. Add a thicker layer of tuna, egg, turkey, chicken, hummus, tofu, or cottage cheese. Add cucumber, tomato, lettuce, cabbage, peppers, or sprouts. Use mustard, avocado, or plain yogurt-based spread instead of sweet sauces. Then eat several bites of the filling first before the bread. Dinner bread is different because it usually sneaks in as just a little extra. A roll before soup, bread with pasta, bread with potatoes, bread beside rice, bread before dessert. The issue is not only the bread, the issue is stacking carbohydrates. After 60, a useful everyday rule is to choose 1 main starch at a meal. Bread or potato, bread or rice, bread or pasta. Not bread, plus rice, plus juice, plus dessert as a regular pattern. This does not mean a special occasion is ruined. It simply means the daily plate needs a plan. Now, let's talk about the breads that confuse people the most. Sourdough can be a good choice for some people, especially if it is dense and made from whole grain flour. But sourdough is not automatically low carbohydrate. A large slice of white sourdough can still raise blood sugar because it is still mostly starch. The better question is not only, is it sourdough? The better question is, what flour is it made from? How much fiber does it have? How large is the slice? And what am I eating with it? Gluten-free bread is another common trap. Gluten-free does not mean blood sugar friendly. Many gluten-free breads are made with rice flour, potato starch, tapioca starch, or other refined starches. They may be useful for people who truly need gluten-free eating, but they can still raise glucose quickly if the fiber is low and the portion is large. Bagels deserve special attention because they look like one item, but the carbohydrate load can be much larger than expected. Many seniors say, "I only had a bagel," but one bagel can act like several slices of bread. If you love bagels, consider half. Choose higher fiber options when available, and add protein such as egg, salmon, cottage cheese, or nut butter. A large bagel eaten alone is very different from half a bagel with protein. Crackers are also deceptive. They are small, so they feel harmless, but small foods are easy to overeat. A few crackers become many crackers, especially if they are eaten from the box. If you use crackers, put the portion on a plate and pair them with tuna, hummus, cheese, egg salad, nut butter, or cottage cheese. The goal is not to make crackers perfect. The goal is to stop treating them as if they do not count. Now let's look at 3 real-life patterns. The first is the senior with prediabetes. Imagine a 71-year-old woman who eats 2 slices of toast with jam and drinks orange juice every morning. She says, "I do not eat sweets." In one way, she is right. She may not eat candy or cake, but her breakfast is still fast carbohydrate, bread, jam, and juice. A better version would be 1 slice of high-fiber toast, egg or peanut butter, berries instead of juice, and the toast eaten after a few bites of protein. That one change can make the meal slower and more balanced. The second is the senior with type 2 diabetes who loves sandwiches. He does not want to give up bread, and he does not need to be shamed for wanting familiar food. The smarter version is 1 slice open-faced, more tuna or turkey, extra vegetables, and soup or salad on the side. If he tracks glucose, the useful comparison is not whether bread is allowed. The useful comparison is how his body responds to the old sandwich versus the rebuilt sandwich. The third is the older adult who is thin, frail, or losing appetite. This person needs a different approach. Removing bread without replacing the meal can make the person eat too little. For someone already losing weight or strength, a slice of toast with egg, cheese, nut butter, tuna, or soup may be better than skipping food. This is why simple rules like never eat bread fail older adults. Bread advice must match the person. Now, what does the research say about better grains? A 2024 systematic review and dose-response meta-analysis in Nutrition Journal included 10 prospective cohort studies and 37 randomized controlled trials. In the cohort studies, each 50 grams per day of whole grain ingredient intake was associated with a lower risk of type 2 diabetes, with a relative risk of 0.761. That does not mean unlimited whole grain bread is safe for every senior. It means whole grains are usually a better direction than refined grains. Whole grain bread is often a better carbohydrate, not a carbohydrate-free food. Diabetes Canada also recommends choosing lower glycemic index foods and drinks more often to help control blood sugar. Their guidance also explains that pairing a higher GI food with non-starchy vegetables, lean protein, and healthy fats can reduce the overall glycemic effect of the meal. This is why I want you to think in meals, not single foods. A slice of bread with jam and juice sends one message to the body. A slice of bread with egg, tomato, and Greek yogurt sends another. A dinner roll before pasta sends one message. A small piece of dense bread after lentil soup sends another. The bread matters, but the meal matters more. Let's rebuild the most common bread meals in a simple way. If your usual breakfast is 2 slices of toast with jam, rebuild it as 1 slice of dense, high-fiber toast with egg, peanut butter, cottage cheese, or Greek yogurt. Replace juice with berries or a small whole fruit portion. Eat protein first, then the toast. If your usual lunch is a large sandwich, rebuild it as open-faced. Use 1 slice of bread and more filling. Add vegetables for crunch and volume. Put soup or salad beside it instead of chips. Eat several bites of the filling first, then the bread. If your usual snack is crackers, rebuild it by putting the crackers on a plate instead of eating from the box. Add protein or healthy fat. Tuna, hummus, cheese, cottage cheese, egg salad, or nut butter can turn a fast snack into a steadier one. If your usual dinner has bread beside pasta, rice, or potatoes, choose 1 main starch. If you want bread, reduce the other starch. If you want potatoes, skip the bread. This is not punishment. It is simply avoiding a carbohydrate pileup. And if you are thinking, "But I have eaten bread my whole life," I understand. Bread is comfort. Bread is routine. Bread is easy to chew. Bread goes with soup, eggs, tea, family meals, and memories. I am not asking you to erase a lifelong food. I am asking you to stop letting bread enter the meal without a plan. Here's the plan in one sentence. Choose slower bread, eat a smaller portion, add protein and fiber, eat bread later in the meal, and move gently afterward when you can. That sentence is simple, but it changes the whole meal. Tomorrow morning, if you normally eat toast first, try this. Put the protein on the plate first. It could be egg, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, tuna, peanut butter, or hummus. Take several bites of that first, then eat the toast. If you use jam, use less and add berries instead of juice. If you normally eat 2 slices, try 1 slice and add more protein so you are still satisfied. At lunch, if you normally eat a sandwich with 2 slices, try 1 slice open-faced. Make the filling thicker. Add cucumber, tomato, lettuce, cabbage, or peppers. Eat some of the filling first, then eat the bread. At dinner, if you normally eat bread while waiting for the meal, move the bread to the end. Start with soup, vegetables, beans, fish, chicken, tofu, or another protein. Then decide whether you still want the bread. Often, when bread is no longer the first bite, the portion naturally becomes smaller. This is the quiet secret. You do not always need more willpower. Sometimes you need a better order. Many seniors blame themselves for liking bread, but the problem is often structure, not character. If bread is on the counter, soft, sliced, and ready, while protein takes effort, of course bread wins. So make the better choice easier. Keep boiled eggs ready. Keep Greek yogurt or cottage cheese available. Keep tuna, hummus, soup, or cooked lentils on hand. Freeze bread in individual slices, so 1 slice becomes the natural portion instead of 3. That small pause matters. When the whole loaf is on the counter, the hand keeps reaching. When 1 slice is taken from the freezer and toasted, the brain has time to decide. Now, how do you know whether bread may be affecting your blood sugar? Some clues are obvious, and others are quiet. You may feel very sleepy after toast, bagels, or sandwiches. You may feel hungry again 2 hours later. Your glucose reading may rise more than expected. Your A1C may stay high, even though you stopped eating sweets. You may notice that breakfast feels light, but your energy drops later. You may crave more bread because the first bread meal did not keep you full. These clues do not mean you failed. They mean your body is giving information. The answer is not always to remove bread. Sometimes the answer is to change the bread. Sometimes it is to change the portion. Sometimes it is to change the order. Sometimes it is to add protein. Sometimes it is to stop drinking juice with toast. Sometimes it is to walk for 10 minutes after breakfast. Very often, it is several small changes working together. A 7-day bread experiment can make this clear. On day 1, eat your usual bread meal and notice how you feel afterward. On day 2, keep the same meal but reduce the bread portion. On day 3, add protein. On day 4, add vegetables or soup. On day 5, eat bread later in the meal. On day 6, take a gentle walk afterward if that fits your usual ability. On day 7, combine the best changes: slower bread, smaller portion, protein, fiber, bread later, and light movement. By the end of 1 week, you may know more about your body than any bread advertisement can tell you. And that is the real goal after 60. Not perfection, not fear, not a diet that makes life miserable. The goal is steadier energy, fewer sharp rises after meals, less sleepiness, better nourishment, and more confidence with foods you already know. So remember this: bread after 60 is not about banning one food. It is about respecting how the body changes with age. 1 slice can be part of a healthy senior meal, but 1 slice eaten alone, eaten first, eaten as a large portion, or stacked with juice, potatoes, rice, pasta, and dessert can become a very different story. If your blood sugar has been confusing you, start with the simplest change. Do not eat bread first. Add protein. Add fiber. Choose a better slice. Keep the portion honest, then watch what happens. Write this in the comments. Do you usually eat bread first, or do you eat it with protein? Your answer may help another senior recognize the same habit in their own kitchen. The next time you look at toast, do not ask, "Is this bread good or bad?" Ask, "How can I make this slice safer for my blood sugar today?" That question is small, but after 60, it can change the whole meal.